Well, all right, everybody around the world. It's the Bee-a-Thon 3. We are winding down the first part of today's broadcast, and we're delighted to keep going. Now, you can stay tuned in to InsectNewsNetwork.com. The broadcast goes until 12 midnight, and we're going to be showing the party live. We're going to have a steady cam, but the whole party is going to be shot from many different angles as well. So this is my chance now, with the last 10 minutes or so here on the Bee-a-Thon, this is my chance to kind of take the deep dive. I often tell people that on the Insect News Network, we take people on a deep dive into the microcosm. And because it's not just about the bugs, it's about us, I'd like to take a few minutes just to share with you what I think's really going on with the honeybees. So this relationship is as ancient as anything in the human world. Yes, thank you. I'll have to cue that up. She just gave me a little note that says, "Don't forget Patch Adams." So my good buddy and one of the correspondents for the Insect News Network is named Patrick Adams. He runs Blue Moon Bees Honey down in San Jose, California. And if I can cue it up here, if my computer cooperates, it's a video, an audio I want to play live on the air. So essentially, what I think is going on is that we are being forced as a society to reevaluate not only who we are on this planet, but what we're leaving for future generations. And the honeybee, I call them the great ambassador. They are the poster child for what I've coined as Sustainability 3.0. Sustainability 1.0 started back in the 1950s and 60s with the Back to Farmers, the people rekindling the earth message. It sort of hit its apex in the 1970s. Sustainability 2.0 started with the internet, of course, the digital era, and the greening of America's business. The word sustainability became hot in the 90s and has continued all the way through the early 2000s. And now we're moving into another step. It's called Sustainability 3.0. It's where the empowerment of an individual on a local and regional level is not just for the betterment of the human society, but it's also designed to restore balance in the most simple ways. And at the end of the day, give me just a minute. Let me pull up this dream here. Well, maybe it's not going to happen here today, folks. This is kind of interesting. I really want to play this for you because it's a beautiful idea. So what I think is really going on is that the honeybee and the colony collapse that started, that hit the news back in 2006 and 2007 was a wake-up call. Because unlike some other things in climate change, humans have a very, very direct impact on what happens with honeybees and other pollinators. The irony of the decline of pollinators is that it has to do with some of the things that we care about the most: our food supply, beautiful flowers, beautiful landscapes and ecosystems, as well as how the natural world integrates into human society. This is why I talk about biocomplexity. It's a very complex topic. But biocomplexity is really going to be the battle cry in the next 10 and 20 years as the changes get more intense and the human society struggles to find ways to work together to move into the future. Where the honeybee comes into it is that this creature that has been around for 150, perhaps more million years, has a lifestyle that humans have co-evolved with. We have been harvesting honey since the beginning of our civilization. We have this interdependence with honeybees that really, I think, has stemmed all around the world. And with the growth of the human culture around the world, the honeybees have gone with us. I talked earlier about the United States and the growth of the honeybees. It happened in South America, in Europe, in Africa, the Far East, China, and Asia. So the idea is that everywhere you go around the world, insects impact the human being, but you're not going to find a species that has a more poetic connection, a more metaphysical connection, a more spiritual connection than the honeybee to people. One of our guests was going to come on and talk about the book that Muslims, 600 million Muslims around the world follow, called the Quran. In the Quran, the honeybee is the only creature that talks directly to God. In the Christian Bible, of course, there's the land of milk and honey, and the Apostle John the Baptist wandering in the desert looking for honey. In Shintoism, in Buddhism, in a lot of the Native American cultures, in the Mesoamerican cultures of the Mayans. The honeybee, a different honeybee altogether, but the stingless honeybee is a sacred creature to the ancient Mayans, and it's been revered for centuries. So I'm going to play just a moment of Patch Adams, telling you a little bit about how he got into beekeeping, and then I'm going to share with you a poem that I wrote to close off the first Bee-a-Thon, and then we'll wrap it up for this broadcast.
No, so so this is almost 10 years ago, and
Okay.
very vivid dream, and I was outside, and it was very quiet, and then suddenly I was just surrounded by this sort of golden light, and just bees swarming all around me, just millions and millions of bees, and they were all like drops of amber, like you were holding amber up to the light, and they were just moving all around me. And I woke up the next morning and I said to my wife, I think I'm going to become a beekeeper. And she looked at me and she said, really? Really? I was like, yeah, I don't know. I know I want to do this. And so, in typical fashion, I just sort of like, well, I think I should go find a beekeeper and talk to him. And I found Franklin Carrier.
And that's the man you referenced earlier.
Yeah, you got to come and meet him. He's absolutely fascinating man, and amazing Middle Earth creature. He looks like he came out of a Tolkien novel.
Oh, yeah? Nice. Nice.
And
he's the leader of your tribe down here.
Yeah. And, I found him, and I was like, oh, this is where, and just hung out and listened to him, talked to him, asked a million questions. He handed me his book that he wrote. I bought a copy, went home and studied it, and it all just became sort of
a decade later.
Yeah.
So that's Patch's introduction to the microcosm. He's a returning guest. He's a good friend of mine, and I just love to talk to Patch, especially to share his vision of how he became a beekeeper through a dream. The human condition is not something that can be discerned in a laboratory. There's much of our relationship and our biology that is genetic, it's molecular, it's atomic, but there's also things that are a little bit outside the lines, the estuary between existence and thought, between the daytime and the night, and that's where the human being really exists. We'd like to think we're purely logical creatures, but if you notice in the world of people, especially the world of adults, we make very, very few decisions that are logical. And while we continue to progress into the future and make great advances with many aspects of our lives, there seems to be this propensity for human beings to soil the garden that we call home. It's the planet Earth. So really what I like to say is that the honeybee is the ambassador from the earth. It might be the greatest gift of humans to mankind, and I'd like to think that as we proceed into the future, if we start taking care of the honeybees, we are going to start taking care of ourselves as well. It's about respect for each other, it's about respect for the earth, and it's about a reconnection between humans and the microcosm. Hey, could you ask them to... So as we are drawing to a close, I just wanted to read this poem to you. The original Bee-a-Thon took place in 2011, and I launched it to advocate for honeybees through citizen science with a group of people over at yourgardenshow.com. So before we close, I want to say thanks to my own family, especially my beautiful mother, Rosaline Brady. And I also want to say thanks to the people who helped put the first Bee-a-Thon together. That was the Finnertys, Tom, Lisa, Finnerty put together Your Garden Show, and they helped organize it for us. So I wrote this poem. It's called Ode to the Bee-a-Thoners. When the winds of change sweep across our lives and the human spirit bends like a tree, we can forget the basics of who we are, consumed by what we think we should be. In these times, we must reflect on past, present, and future of meaning in time and space. Contemplation then gives us peace of mind, distinction of human being and human race. We must breathe deep in and gentle on ourselves and take rest with others and share fun. Enjoy the warmth of our friends and beloveds, of the rising moon and the setting sun. So many people exist living day to day, unseen, unheard by others, unheralded champions of the duties mundane, simply children and fathers and mothers. Such is the life of the honeybee, who works in tireless duty, giving to itself to bring life to the world, so much humanity in its being and beauty. Our bond with bees is an ancient one, sprung before time in recorded history, and this affair has dimensions beyond the apparent of honey and sweet mystery. The phrase Mahatma Gandhi spoke, with timeless alacrity to it, "It is not important what we do, but it is very important that we do it." Therein lies a message for us to embrace for common sense and future seeing, yet another connection in body and spirit between honeybees and human being. So I can't say enough thanks to everybody who will make this happen. Once again, everybody here at Davis Media Access, the whole production team, and the volunteers who have put up with the buzz. We are alive in the hive here in Davis. We hope the Bee-a-Thon has been a treat for you. Stay tuned for the broadcast and more pre-recorded material, the fun, the fascination, and the connection between humans and honeybees. And until we go into the future, just remember, it's a big world out there, and most of it is microscopic. Until next time on the Insect News Network, we'll see you on the other side of the horizon. Imagine that.